Now, this is what I'm talking about when we're looking at a rear view camera. So if you're like me and you did not get the infotainment setup from Mercedes in your van, your only option for a rear view camera is when you put your van in reverse and you get a small square right there, which really doesn't give you much. And also, if you're like me and you bought a cargo van and it doesn't have windows in the back, you can't see anything through your rear view mirror. So what we're going to talk about today is the Wolfbox 900 Pro rear view and front view camera. If this is something you're interested in, please stick around for the video. If you're new to the channel, my name is Dan from Ramblin' Ambition, and we are working on our 170 extended all-wheel drive Sprinter van. And one of the challenges that I have, as I'm sure there are some of you that also have that same challenge, which is we bought a basic Mercedes Sprinter van that has the basic stereo system and a very, very small rear view camera. And what that doesn't allow you to do is see what's behind the van, much less have a good perspective because the screen is so small. So there are a couple aftermarket solutions. You can replace this entire system. You could have bought the van that had the system, or you can do what we are going to do, which is install a Wolfbox S900 Pro rear view camera and front view camera that also acts as a dash cam. This system is pretty easy to set up, and it is amazingly clear for what you get. And we'll go through those steps and how we put everything together and what it all looks like here in just a second. Comes in a nice box. You have the head unit, which is basically everything that you need. You have some wire taps. You have a cigarette lighter adapter. You have a GPS antenna that we've already installed on the windshield. You have a rear camera, and you have a wiring harness. So basically all you need is 12-volt power. The nice thing about this head unit is that it wraps around your existing rear view mirror, and then that is the front camera. On the top there is an SD card, there's your GPS antenna plug-in, there's your rear camera plug-in, and then there's your power, which is basically a Type-C power connector. So in order to get this set up, the first thing we did was we mounted the rear camera. So the rear camera is sitting right beside the Mercedes camera. And basically it's got some VHB tape on the bracket right there. And then we just went through the little plastic hole that's in the roof that's got a little plastic plug in it. We just drilled a hole in it and put some Sikaflex around it. And that hole dumps out behind this light. From there, we ran the signal cable through there and then down and all the way to the front of the van. Pretty simple stuff. From there, we connected it to our power supply, which we just ran wires through the edge of the shelf back here, and it just sits here in the trough. And then we ran the power wire out through here, and then made our connection to our 12-volt power source right there. So we dropped that power supply line, as well as the rear camera feed, down from the shelf above here, and just dropped the two cords. So this is your feed for your camera, and this is your power source, which is connected to a 12-volt power supply. The only other thing we had to do was we mounted the GPS antenna right there, and then just brought that cable right up to here. And that is really basically it. We'll take the Wolfbox receiver and we'll mount it with those straps to our rear view mirror, and that's it. I mean, it is probably the simplest thing to do, to put in a dash cam that both covers the front and the rear. And the nice thing is that you can have it rear on all the time. So you have the ability to be able to watch traffic behind you, and it's recording the whole time. So if anybody runs into you, if anything happens, you'll have that captured on that SD card, as well as in the front. Now it's got a bunch of other features, and we'll go through that once we get it hooked up. Now, depending on your rear view mirror size, because these can go into a bunch of different vehicles. They do have several different bands. They have a smaller band for a thinner, and you have a larger band. These are the ones that we have to use because the rear view mirror for the sprinter van is actually quite thick. So we'll go ahead and just take these straps and I'll show you. I mean, it's really, 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 really easy how to get this together. So we're gonna take it and we're gonna make our connections first. So that's our GPS antenna. This is our rear view camera. And then this is our power feed. And then we're gonna take the straps and wrap them over top of the factory rear view mirror. And then the camera for the front is going to sit basically right beside the existing rear view mirror. And we're just going to pull these straps tight, and that's it. That's about as difficult as it gets. So there are a couple different ways to connect this to power, and we'll talk about how we chose to do it. So like with lots of these cameras, you have lots of options. You can connect them to a 12 volt fuse circuit, which is some of those additional pieces they gave you. You can use your cigarette lighter if you don't want to connect it to power permanently. Or you can do what I did, which is wire that power supply directly to a 12 volt source. That is, in our case, it is not based off of the ignition. So we're utilizing our battery bank to power a second Garmin power switch to do a few things. So much like the Garmin power switch that we use up front for some of the accessories on the van, we have the same power switch in the rear that's connected to a couple different things. One is our interior lights for the van, and two is going to be for this camera. And that way I can turn it on and turn it off whenever I want to. And it isn't going to, if I forget or anything like that, it's not going to drain the main vehicle battery down. So that's why I prefer to use that piece. So let's turn this back on and we'll go through some of the features. So this thing is basically a computer. So it gives us time, date, the GPS antenna gives us location. We have travel lanes. It has speed associated with it. But this is a computer. So down here you can change the brightness. So you can change display modes. So you can just see the front camera, you can see the rear camera, you can see a split screen, so you can see both of them. I prefer to run it with just the rear camera. You can change the way it loops. You can set all different kinds of things on this to make sure that the thing is doing what you want. So one of the nice things is that the way I have the rear camera mounted, we did have to flip it. So it's sitting upside down on its mount right now. So all we had to do was just flip the screen and it gave us what we were looking for. But you can change date, GPS speeds. You can do all kinds of different things based on what you want this thing to do. But for me, I just want that, which is the rear view camera. I think it's a great addition to the van. Well worth the price, super easy setup. And we took it for a test drive the other day, and it is fantastic to be able just to take a look back at things. A lot of the newer vehicles are coming with digital rear view mirrors, and this is just one that we added in our van. So if you bought the van with the regular radio setup and you don't like that small rear view camera in the rear view mirror, the Wolfbox G900 Pro is really a good option for you. Plus it gives you dash cam capability, which I think is always important no matter where you are with folks on the road today. Having a recording of where you're at and what's happening and what happened to you might be the difference between you having to pay for something and somebody else. So this is Dan from Ramblin' Ambition. If you made it this far, give yourself a thumbs up. If you like what we're doing, give us a thumbs up. And consider subscribing to the channel as we continue to build out our sprinter van. So this is just one more piece of technology that I think is a great addition to our van. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.